Welcome to our first lecture on psychology. Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of the human mind and behavior. We'll explore the definition, history, key figures, subfields, and practical applications of psychology. Let's get started. Definition of psychology. Psychology is the scientific study of behavior and mental processes. This encompasses a wide range of phenomena, from the activities of individual neurons to the behaviors of entire societies. Psychologists strive to understand how people perceive, think, feel, and act, both as individuals and within groups. Understanding behavior and mental processes. Behavior refers to any action that can be observed and measured, while mental processes include thoughts, emotions, and motivations that cannot be directly observed but can be inferred from behavior. By studying these aspects, psychologists aim to understand how people interact with the world around them and how they process information internally. The goals of psychology. Psychology aims to achieve four primary goals: to describe, explain, predict, and control behavior and mental processes. By describing behavior, psychologists can identify patterns and norms. Explaining behavior involves understanding the underlying causes and mechanisms. Predicting behavior allows for the anticipation of future actions, and controlling behavior involves developing interventions to modify undesirable behaviors or promote positive outcomes. History of psychology. The history of psychology is a rich tapestry of ideas, theories, and discoveries that have evolved over centuries. It has roots in philosophy and physiology and has grown into a diverse scientific discipline. Ancient and medieval foundations. The origins of psychology can be traced back to ancient philosophers such as Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle, who pondered questions about the mind, knowledge, and human behavior. These early thinkers laid the groundwork for later psychological inquiry by exploring concepts such as perception, memory, and the nature of the soul. Philosophical roots. Plato's theory of forms posited that non-material abstract forms, and not the material world, possess the highest and most fundamental kind of reality. Aristotle, on the other hand, took a more empirical approach and is often considered the first biological psychologist. His work, De Anima, On the Soul, is one of the earliest texts on the subject of psychology. Medieval contributions. During the medieval period, scholars like Avicenna and Thomas Aquinas continued to explore psychological themes within the context of philosophy and theology. They examined issues related to consciousness, cognition, and the nature of the human mind. Avicenna's work, The Book of Healing, included discussions on various psychological disorders which he treated with methods that would later influence both Eastern and Western medicine. Thomas Aquinas integrated Aristotelian philosophy with Christian theology, providing a foundation for understanding the human soul and its relationship to the body. His works discuss the nature of human cognition, emotions, and moral behavior, influencing the development of psychological thought during the Renaissance and beyond. The birth of modern psychology. Wilhelm Wundt, often regarded as the father of modern psychology, established the first psychology laboratory in Leipzig, Germany in 1879. He aimed to study the structure of the mind through introspection, a method that involved analyzing one's own conscious experiences. This approach, known as structuralism, sought to break down mental processes into their basic components. Wundt's laboratory was a groundbreaking development, marking the transition of psychology from a philosophical to a scientific discipline. He and his students conducted experiments on sensation, perception, and reaction times, laying the groundwork for experimental psychology. William James and functionalism. In contrast to Wundt, William James, an American psychologist, focused on the functions of mental processes rather than their structure. He believed that consciousness and behavior served adaptive purposes, helping individuals navigate their environments. This approach, known as functionalism, emphasized the practical applications of psychological research. James's seminal work, The Principles of Psychology, published in 1890, is considered one of the most important texts in the history of psychology. He introduced concepts such as the stream of consciousness and the theory of emotion, which proposed that emotions result from physiological reactions to stimuli. The rise of psychoanalysis and behaviorism. Sigmund Freud and psychoanalysis. Sigmund Freud, an Austrian neurologist, revolutionized psychology with his theory of psychoanalysis. Freud posited that unconscious desires and conflicts shape human behavior and mental processes. He introduced concepts such as the ego and superego, and emphasized the importance of early childhood experiences in personality development. Freud's work on dream analysis, free association, and transference has had a lasting impact on both psychology and popular culture. Despite the controversies surrounding his theories, Freud's influence on the field cannot be overstated. His ideas about the unconscious mind paved the way for later developments in psychodynamic theory and therapy, John B. Watson, and behaviorism. In the early 20th century, John B. Watson advocated for a more scientific approach to psychology, known as behaviorism. He argued that psychology should focus on observable behaviors rather than unobservable mental processes. Watson's work laid the foundation for later behaviorists, such as B.F. Skinner, who developed theories of operant conditioning and reinforcement. Watson's famous Little Albert experiment demonstrated how emotional responses could be conditioned in humans, illustrating the principles of classical conditioning. His work emphasized the importance of the environment in shaping behavior, challenging the introspective methods of structuralism and functionalism. The emergence of humanistic psychology, Carl Rogers and person-centered therapy. In response to the deterministic views of psychoanalysis and behaviorism, Carl Rogers developed humanistic psychology, which emphasized individual growth and self-actualization. Rogers' person-centered therapy focused on creating a supportive therapeutic environment where clients could explore their feelings and achieve personal growth. Rogers introduced key concepts such as unconditional positive regard, empathy, and congruence, which became foundational principles in humanistic therapy. His work has influenced not only psychology, but also fields such as education, organizational development, and conflict resolution. Abraham Maslow and the hierarchy of needs. Abraham Maslow furthered the humanistic perspective by proposing the hierarchy of needs, a motivational theory that posits individuals strive to fulfill a series of needs, culminating in self-actualization. This theory highlighted the importance of personal growth and fulfillment in understanding human behavior. Maslow's hierarchy, typically depicted as a pyramid, begins with basic physiological needs and progresses through safety, love and belonging, esteem, and finally self-actualization. His work emphasized the positive aspects of human nature and the potential for personal growth, challenging the more pessimistic views of psychoanalysis and behaviorism. The cognitive revolution. Cognitive psychology. In the mid-20th century, the cognitive revolution shifted the focus of psychology back to mental processes. Cognitive psychologists such as Jean Piaget and Ulrich Neisser explored how people perceive, think, remember, and solve problems. This approach integrated insights from neuroscience, linguistics, and computer science to understand the workings of the mind. Piaget's stages of cognitive development provided a framework for understanding how children's thinking evolves over time. Neisser's work on information processing laid the groundwork for the study of cognitive functions such as attention, memory, and perception. Advances in neuroscience. The development of advanced neuroimaging techniques, such as fMRI and PET scans, has allowed psychologists to study the brain's structure and function in unprecedented detail. This has led to significant advancements in understanding the neural underpinnings of behavior and mental processes. Neuroscience has revealed how various brain regions and neural circuits are involved in processes such as emotion regulation, decision-making, and social interaction. This integration of psychology and neuroscience, often referred to as neuropsychology or cognitive neuroscience, has provided a more comprehensive understanding of the mind-brain relationship. Scope of psychology. Psychology encompasses a broad range of topics and subfields, each focusing on different aspects of human behavior and mental processes. Subfields of psychology. Clinical psychology. Clinical psychology involves the assessment, diagnosis, and treatment of mental health disorders. Clinical psychologists work with individuals experiencing a wide range of issues, from depression and anxiety to severe psychopathology. They employ various therapeutic techniques such as cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, and psychodynamic therapy to help clients improve their mental health. For example, clinical psychologists may work in hospitals, private practices, or community mental health centers, providing therapy and counseling services to individuals and groups. They also collaborate with other healthcare professionals to develop comprehensive treatment plans for their clients. Cognitive psychology. Cognitive psychology investigates the mental processes involved in perception, memory, problem-solving, and decision-making. Researchers in this field study how people acquire, process, and store information, and how these processes influence behavior. Cognitive psychologists conduct experiments to understand how people learn, remember, and use information. Their research has applications in areas such as education, artificial intelligence, and human-computer interaction. For instance, cognitive psychology has informed the design of user-friendly interfaces and educational software. Developmental psychology. Developmental psychology examines how people change and grow throughout their lifespan. This subfield explores physical, cognitive, and social development from infancy to old age, investigating how genetic, environmental, and cultural factors shape development. Developmental psychologists study various stages of life, including childhood, adolescence, adulthood, and aging. They investigate topics such as language acquisition, moral development, identity formation, and cognitive decline. Their work informs educational practices, parenting strategies, and policies related to aging and elder care. Social psychology. Social psychology studies how individuals interact with others and how social influences affect behavior. Topics of interest include social cognition, attitudes, group dynamics, and interpersonal relationships. Social psychologists explore how societal norms, stereotypes, and cultural contexts influence behavior. Social psychologists conduct research on topics such as prejudice, conformity, persuasion, and group behavior. They examine how individuals are influenced by their social environment and how they, in turn, influence others. Their findings have implications for addressing social issues such as discrimination, conflict resolution, and public health. Industrial organizational psychology. Industrial organizational, IO, psychology applies psychological principles to the workplace. IO psychologists study topics such as employee motivation, job satisfaction, leadership, and organizational behavior. They aim to improve productivity, enhance employee well-being, and create more efficient work environments. IO psychologists work with organizations to develop hiring practices, training programs, and performance evaluation systems. They also study the impact of organizational culture and leadership styles on employee behavior and organizational effectiveness. Their work helps organizations create positive work environments and achieve their goals. Applications of psychology. Everyday life. Psychological principles can be applied to improve various aspects of everyday life. For example, understanding cognitive biases can help individuals make better decisions, while knowledge of social psychology can enhance interpersonal relationships. Psychologists provide insights into how people can improve their communication skills, manage stress, and achieve personal goals. For instance, time management techniques based on psychological research can help individuals balance work, family, and leisure activities more effectively. Therapy and mental health. Psychology plays a crucial role in mental health treatment. Therapeutic approaches, such as cognitive behavioral therapy and mindfulness-based interventions, have been shown to be effective in treating a wide range of psychological disorders. Psychologists work in various settings, including private practices, hospitals, and schools, providing therapy and counseling services. They also conduct research on mental health issues, develop new therapeutic techniques, and advocate for policies that support mental health care. Education. Educational psychology explores how people learn and develop instructional methods to enhance learning outcomes. Techniques such as spaced repetition, active learning, and formative assessment are grounded in psychological research and have been shown to improve educational outcomes. Educational psychologists work with teachers, administrators, and policymakers to develop effective teaching strategies and educational programs. They also study the impact of factors such as motivation, self-efficacy, and classroom environment on student learning and achievement. For example, research on the benefits of active learning has led to the implementation of strategies such as peer teaching, group projects, and hands-on activities in classrooms. These approaches engage students in the learning process and improve their understanding and retention of the material. Workplaces. Industrial organizational psychology applies psychological principles to optimize workplace functioning. This includes improving employee selection processes, enhancing job satisfaction, and fostering effective leadership and teamwork. IO psychologists work with organizations to create policies and practices that promote employee well-being and organizational success. They conduct research on topics such as work-life balance, employee engagement, and the impact of technology on work behavior. Their findings help organizations create positive work environments and achieve their goals. Key figures in psychology. The history of psychology is marked by the contributions of numerous influential figures who have shaped the field. Here we will focus on 4 key figures: Sigmund Freud, Carl Jung, B.F. Skinner, and Carl Rogers. Sigmund Freud, 1856-1939. Sigmund Freud was an Austrian neurologist who founded psychoanalysis, a method for treating psychopathology through dialogue between a patient and a psychoanalyst. Freud's theories on the unconscious mind, defense mechanisms, and the psychosexual stages of development have had a profound impact on psychology and popular culture. Life and contributions. Freud's work on dream analysis, free association, and transference has had a lasting impact on both psychology and popular culture. Despite the controversies surrounding his theories, Freud's influence on the field cannot be overstated. His ideas about the unconscious mind paved the way for later developments in psychodynamic theory and therapy. Major theories. Freud proposed that much of human behavior is influenced by unconscious desires and conflicts. He divided the mind into 3 parts: the id, ego, and superego. The id represents instinctual drives, the ego mediates between the id and reality, and the superego represents internalized societal norms and morals. Freud believed that personality development occurs through a series of stages, each characterized by a specific erogenous zone. These stages are oral, anal, phallic, latency, and genital. According to Freud, unresolved conflicts at any stage can lead to fixation and influence adult behavior. Freud identified various defense mechanisms, such as repression, denial, and projection, that the ego uses to manage anxiety and conflict. These mechanisms operate unconsciously to protect the individual from psychological distress, legacy, and criticism. While Freud's theories have been widely criticized for their lack of empirical support and perceived sexism, his work has undeniably influenced the field of psychology. Many of his ideas have been integrated into modern psychodynamic theories and therapeutic practices. Freud's emphasis on the unconscious mind and early childhood experiences continues to shape our understanding of human behavior. Carl Jung, 1875-1961. Life and contributions. Carl Jung, a Swiss psychiatrist and psychoanalyst, was initially a close collaborator of Freud, but eventually developed his own theories, diverging from Freud's emphasis on sexuality. Jung founded analytical psychology and introduced concepts such as the collective unconscious and archetypes. Jung's work expanded the scope of psychoanalysis to include spirituality, mythology, and cultural symbolism. He believed that understanding these elements was essential for achieving psychological wholeness. Major theories. Jung proposed that, in addition to the personal unconscious, there is a collective unconscious shared by all humans. This contains archetypes, which are universal symbols and themes that shape human experiences. Examples of archetypes include the hero, the shadow, and the anima animus. Jung identified several archetypes, such as the self, the shadow, the anima animus, and the hero. These archetypes manifest in myths, dreams, and cultural narratives. They represent fundamental aspects of the human experience and influence our behavior and perceptions. Jung believed that psychological development involves a process called individuation, where individuals integrate various aspects of their personality to achieve self-realization and wholeness. This process involves reconciling the conscious and unconscious parts of the self. Legacy and criticism. Jung's ideas have been influential in areas such as psychotherapy, personality theory, and the study of mythology and religion. His concepts of the collective unconscious and archetypes have provided a framework for understanding the symbolic and spiritual dimensions of human experience. However, some critics argue that his theories lack empirical support and are overly speculative. B.F. Skinner, 1904-1990. Life and contributions. B.F. Skinner, an American psychologist, was a leading figure in the development of behaviorism. He focused on the study of observable behavior and the effects of reinforcement and punishment. Skinner's work on operant conditioning and behavior modification has had a profound impact on psychology and education. He emphasized the importance of environmental factors in shaping behavior and developed techniques for modifying behavior through reinforcement and punishment. Major theories. Skinner developed the theory of operant conditioning, which posits that behavior is shaped by its consequences. Reinforcement increases the likelihood of a behavior, while punishment decreases it. Positive reinforcement involves presenting a rewarding stimulus, while negative reinforcement involves removing an aversive stimulus. Skinner identified various schedules of reinforcement, such as fixed ratio, fixed interval, and variable interval schedules, each producing different patterns of behavior. For example, variable ratio schedules, where reinforcement is provided after an unpredictable number of responses, tend to produce high rates of responding. Skinner's principles of operant conditioning have been applied to behavior modification techniques used to change maladaptive behaviors in various settings, including schools, workplaces, and therapy. These techniques include token economies, shaping, and behavior contracts. Legacy and criticism. Skinner's work has had a significant impact on psychology, education, and behavior therapy. His research on operant conditioning has informed the development of effective teaching strategies, behavior management programs, and therapeutic interventions. However, critics argue that behaviorism's focus on observable behavior neglects the importance of internal mental processes. Carl Rogers, 1902-1987. Life and contributions. Carl Rogers, an American psychologist, was a central figure in humanistic psychology. He developed person-centered therapy, which emphasizes the therapeutic relationship and the client's capacity for self-directed growth. Rogers introduced key concepts such as unconditional positive regard, empathy, and congruence, which became foundational principles in humanistic therapy. His work has influenced not only psychology but also fields such as education, organizational development, and conflict resolution. Major theories. Rogers believed that a supportive therapeutic environment characterized by empathy, unconditional positive regard, and congruence enables clients to explore their feelings and achieve personal growth. The therapist's role is to provide a non-judgmental, accepting space for the client to express themselves. Rogers emphasized the importance of self-concept, the organized, consistent set of perceptions and beliefs about oneself. A positive self-concept is crucial for psychological well-being. Discrepancies between the self-concept and experiences can lead to anxiety and psychological distress. Rogers proposed that all individuals have an inherent tendency toward growth, fulfillment, and self-actualization. This actualizing tendency drives people to develop their potential and achieve their goals. Legacy and criticism. Rogers' contributions have had a lasting impact on psychotherapy, education, and organizational development. His emphasis on empathy and the therapeutic relationship has influenced various therapeutic approaches. Critics, however, argue that humanistic psychology's focus on individual growth may overlook the influence of social and environmental factors. Applications of psychology. Everyday life. Psychological principles can be applied to improve various aspects of everyday life. For example, understanding cognitive biases can help individuals make better decisions, while knowledge of social psychology can enhance interpersonal relationships. Psychologists provide insights into how people can improve their communication skills, manage stress, and achieve personal goals. For instance, time management techniques based on psychological research can help individuals balance work, family, and leisure activities more effectively. Therapy and mental health. Psychology plays a crucial role in mental health treatment. Therapeutic approaches, such as cognitive behavioral therapy and mindfulness-based interventions, have been shown to be effective in treating a wide range of psychological disorders. Psychologists work in various settings, including private practices, hospitals, and schools, providing therapy and counseling services. They also conduct research on mental health issues, develop new therapeutic techniques, and advocate for policies that support mental health care. Education. Educational psychology explores how people learn and develop instructional methods to enhance learning outcomes. Techniques such as spaced repetition, active learning, and formative assessment are grounded in psychological research and have been shown to improve educational outcomes. Educational psychologists work with teachers, administrators, and policymakers to develop effective teaching strategies and educational programs. They also study the impact of factors such as motivation, self-efficacy, and classroom environment on student learning and achievement. For example, research on the benefits of active learning has led to the implementation of strategies such as peer teaching, group projects, and hands-on activities in classrooms. These approaches engage students in the learning process and improve their understanding and retention of the material. Workplaces. Industrial organizational psychology applies psychological principles to optimize workplace functioning. This includes improving employee selection processes, enhancing job satisfaction, and fostering effective leadership and teamwork. IO psychologists work with organizations to create policies and practices that promote employee well-being and organizational success. They conduct research on topics such as work-life balance, employee engagement, and the impact of technology on work behavior. Their findings help organizations create positive work environments and achieve their goals. Conclusion: psychology is a diverse and dynamic field that seeks to understand the complexities of human behavior and mental processes. From its philosophical roots to its modern scientific approaches, psychology has evolved to encompass a wide range of subfields and applications. By exploring the contributions of key figures, the scope of different subfields, and the practical applications of psychology, we gain a deeper appreciation for the field's impact on everyday life, therapy, education, and workplaces. As we continue our journey through the world of psychology, we will delve deeper into each of these areas, gaining a richer understanding of the human mind and behavior. Whether through exploring the intricacies of cognitive processes, understanding the development of individuals across their lifespan, or applying psychological principles to improve mental health and workplace dynamics, psychology offers valuable insights that enhance our understanding of ourselves and others. This concludes the first lecture on Introduction to Psychology. We have covered the definition, history, and scope of psychology, explored the contributions of key figures such as Sigmund Freud, Carl Jung, B.F. Skinner, and Carl Rogers, and examined various subfields and their practical applications. As we move forward, we will continue to explore the fascinating and ever-evolving field of psychology, uncovering new insights and applications that enrich our understanding of the human experience. Before you go, a quick shout-out to our sponsor, Site 123. Whether you're a tech enthusiast or a creative mind, Site 123 is the perfect platform to build your online presence. Easy to use, customizable templates, and exceptional customer support. Get started today at Site 2023. Your dream website is just a few clicks away. Video description. In this introductory lecture, we explore the fascinating world of psychology, covering its definition, history, key figures, subfields, and practical applications. Join us as we delve into the complexities of the human mind and behavior.